Hi, I've just learned that Liz Truss is going to be our next Prime Minister. Apparently the Tory party couldn't put same difference. So not put Richie Sunak in number 10 because it'd be a bit too obvious putting an asset stripper into number 10. It would tell everybody exactly what's been going on since 2010. So I guess they backed away from that. Anyway, both Richie and Liz said in their run-up, trying to get the vote, as it were, that they would curtail or bring in legislation to curtail union rights, to stop people from down in tools and saying enough's enough and going on strike. My answer to that is, to everybody who's watching this, and try and share it with everybody you can, or advise everybody you can, join a union as quick as you can. Now, the reason I'm saying this is a lone voice is nothing. 50 voices is pretty much nothing. 1,000 voices can be nothing. But if you stand with 1 million people beside you, or a couple of million people beside you, or a nation beside you, you can change anything. If you join a union, and it doesn't matter which one, if you join a union, if they bring in anti-union legislation, all you've got to do is all get together and say, well, that's it, general strike, down tools, and that's it. They can't win. The government cannot win. They've done everything they can to ruin this country. If you down tools, they will have to give in, and they'd have to not bring in that legislation. Now, they brought in anti-union legislation 50 years ago, and look what's happened to wages 50 years. Over the 50 years since they brought that last lot in. Right? Can the average bloke in the street buy a house? No. Why? Because his wages haven't kept up with prices. And here, this is where we're in. The unions now are saying enough's enough, and they're going on strike, and they're mobilising because things are that bad. It's either strike or starve or die of the cold. Now, what I'm telling you, if you might think to yourself you're part of the 95, you might think you're better than the 95% of us who are just is basically everybody else. The Conservatives care about the 5%, the rich. The ones since austerity have made money, and the 1% who've actually doubled their wealth. That's all they care about. They don't care about the likes of you and me, the 95%. We're the great unwashed. And if you think you're posh enough or la-di-da enough or own your own house and you think you're not working class, then you're deluding yourself. You are part of the 95%. You're not part of the 5%. So eventually this is going to come and sit on your doorstep. It is already with the cost of living and the cost of energy. This is going to sit at your doorstep because they don't care about you. Right? So your only option is to join a union. Join a union and have a voice. Now, what can a union do for you? Loads of stuff. I'll give you one example though. And this is from my own life. I used to be a bus conductor. When they used to have 2-man crew, you had a driver and a conductor. Conductor's job was giving out the tickets, taking the money. Now, when I was on there, I got brought into the office one day for what we used to call Smacky Andy Day. All right, so I get brought in the office and I take my union rep with me, as you used to back in the day. And I walks in and the governor says to me, "What? Do you know why you're here?" And I went, "No, I have no idea what. I haven't done nothing wrong. I don't know what's going on." He said, "You're being done for non-completion of journey and running in 15 minutes early." And I went, "Well, I haven't done that." And he went, "You have, and I'm going to dismiss you now." And my union rep went, hold up, no you're not." And he went, "Why? This man he's done this. He's running 15 minutes early on such and such a day, and he's not completing the journey." Apparently they knew that the journey hadn't been completed is because an inspector was waiting at the end of the journey, and it was absolutely chucking it down. I remember that. And we never turned up to pick him up. So the shortcut was done and back to the garage. And that's why I was going to get the sack. And my rep said, "No, this guy's a conductor. He can't even drive, let alone drive a bus. How can you sack the bloke who is just basically at this period is a passenger just like everybody else? He can't get off the bus, run in front of the bus while it's moving, stop it and tell the driver, go back, you're going the wrong way." You know, the driver was determined to take the shortcut. It had nothing to do with the conductor. Oh, the driver, by the way, he wanted the sack. He didn't want to work there anymore, and that's basically what he was up to. But anyway, there was a big to and fro in between my rep and the boss, who wanted to sack me. And eventually, it was all whittled down, and the boss said, well, I'm putting a reprimand on his permanent record. So my rep took me to one side and said, but I think that's about the best we can get out of this. So I said, fair enough, and I accepted the reprimand. But looking back on it, it was still wrong because I'd done nothing wrong. But without my union rep, I'd have been sacked. Looking for a job. End of story. Now, you might say, oh yeah, but that's years ago. True, it is. But I know somebody who was sacked from their job of 19 years for the sake of an accusation. Not theft. They'd done nothing criminally wrong. But an accusation was made by a disgruntled person. And this person got sacked. And in 2010, the government changed the law, making it harder to go to tribunal. So no tribunal was held. This person was sacked, and later on we learned that this company wanted to sack people or get rid of people without paying redundancy. So that's what happened there. You might say this doesn't happen today. Yes, it does all the time. I know people who that happen to. 0-hour contracts. Okay, we're not going to have. We don't want you in for the next month. You have a dispute with the boss. So he says, oh, we don't want you in next month for the next 6 weeks. You're still employed by us, but we don't want you, so we're not going to pay you. Well, if you're still employed, you can't exactly sign on. So what do you do? How would you get around that? That's a guy, a boss, taking the mick, where the union wouldn't allow that to happen. So what I'm saying to you basically is save yourself now. If you don't belong to a union, join a union now, because then you're in a group with loads and loads of people. So if something bad does happen to you, you've got to come back. Join a union right now, because you really need to, before it hits the fan completely. Do yourselves a favour. Have a look around. There's loads of unions to pick from. Pick one, join it, save yourself. Anyway, that's my bit for today. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this, share it and talk about it. Give your friends a heads up. Get them to join a union. And take your power back. The 95% are the ones who earn all the money in this country. The 5% are the ones who sit on their backsides and take all the profit, and that's what's causing the cost of living problems. So you have a look at it online. Don't bother to look at the TV. Don't bother to look at the newspapers. They're all owned by billionaires, and you'll be fed rubbish. Look it up for yourself. Research it yourself. There's plenty of places online what you can look at. Anyway, that's it. That's my lot. Take care, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.